Do you think
Oh, this looks like she's got the. Check that.
Is the glass something, is that just left from a previous?
Right, recording.
Is that? Oh yeah, you can let's leave that. Just leave it there, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so you need to perpetuate the signs of these feet.
Yeah, of course, I was thinking.
Um,
No, you weren't here last week, were you? Yeah, you okay? Yeah, good.
yeah. So four arms. That'll probably be a bit bigger there, yeah.
Oh, okay, yes. You were thinking of bringing her along reading. Does she draw or not? No.
I mean, you know, just watch this.
different?
Watch your
Well, the
back.
system
Supposed to be the
opposites.
elbow,
Yeah.
the
Artistic training and
true now. Watch that, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all right, yeah.
It worked well then.
Okay, hands. Good. It's looking good. I think the main thing with that is just the feet, really.
I do need to
Just make the feet a bit bigger.
sweats they like.
Your ideas? Yeah, that's
Singing. I'm required. It's breed. Community.
yeah, good.
Oh,
And the pressure's on because we've got previous. And then songs.
What I mean, it's like,
Oh, I'm going to definitely
so this,
Here's the season to
yeah, and everything is,
Yeah,
and I'm sort of.
But they're going next.
That, again, that might be the previous version that didn't rub out, but it looks like that.
I think you can just see a split second.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
everything else.
So that's what that's, and also he's the requirement.
And
It's
here,
very
you can these two fingers,
he'll be mouthy.
but then you see that crease there,
Yeah.
so you got those two.
I think it's in part of this.
And you've got,
feel like, yeah.
show you again that wraps around.
You'll be young to see, you know.
Just seem to
Yes, but
crease in 2 weeks.
Oh,
maybe nice. Honestly, I would say it's for me.
yeah, I think it's right.
Oh, yeah, just- This seemed less of a thing as well, that finger.
Yeah. So I did feel these come together a lot quicker than the previous ones.
So my hobby was to
Already.
I mean, it's pretty much brand new. So the phone, I think they said they can't fix it for
And again, just with the feet.
So I played
Good
the
shape.
Anus.
Oh, just
Just
make them a bit bigger.
No, later. So we'll line up cancellation.
Then we've got the lady.
I get a text 2 o'clock this afternoon. So
arm just kept
we've got a
extending,
cancellation.
extending,
Come
extending.
this
Still needs
afternoon.
to
Reply yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you want a lot. Yes.
And then just
I
with
stayed in all
the
afternoon.
the
Did they
leg,
turn up?
a bit chunky.
Yes.
And then afterwards I started thinking, well, I wonder if that text was sent out first thing in the morning, but because of the network,
It's a,
it's just been the wrong.
yeah.
But I was what I hope to see.
This is good.
And I have no misgivings
So
or
I think
anything.
just follow that line.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
There. Got that.
But I thought I wouldn't complain first thing this morning because I'm not in this morning.
All buttocks actually. That buttock is that one I've done there. It should be that one. But yeah.
Yeah.
And the next one like this. Yeah.
That's good. Nice. Cool. Job. Any more homeworks?
I'll just move it over the top. Yeah, I have to do just before we have both of them.
okay.
Well, just with actually
It doesn't look wrong.
it's just the one sheet.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. I get nervous more than most people. I get nervous, so like we shifted over that.
On your own.
Like,
Yeah.
really intelligent the size of it.
The appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can
No,
see
no, you tap like some.
the amount of rubbing out. It's like 70 minutes.
I did.
And then your legs were down.
I like it, so I'm well, I can't let the stations
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. So I didn't do this one.
I feel like I want to do toothbrush.
That's good.
I don't, they can't see right as a table to have them, because you would sneeze in this. I only have results, it's just.
Have you done it in a specific time?
I didn't time myself, no. I didn't have to tell us to go.
Yeah.
That's right, I know it's nice.
And then we told here, 15 as well.
No, I just.
I can't see it for this thing. I did.
You want that to come on? This is like,
And they're not.
I wonder if I can just move it. Oh, that's good. They didn't like me putting the cross. It's obviously recording at the moment.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the breakfast there?
We don't see each other very often, so it's really nice. We do just have a few days, just catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
My sister and I did it again.
Yes, I've been working on this.
I can imagine to doing that.
Yeah, we did it in March and we've done a lot of work on there and everything, so we're in a hot at the moment. But yeah, it's great.
From a purchase.
Yeah,
She younger than you?
older. Yeah, mine's the 30 actually. But she's gone off the road and yes, it's great.
Mission.
Glad we did it. I mean, yeah, a lot of
Until
them.
you're running private.
Yeah,
Use the navigator, you can give it to her. She wants it for his.
she likes that. You know, we're very similar. So,
Do you know, I've never done
yeah.
I saw this, it's David, really amazing ones. Yeah, but you know, it's amazing. Painting.
Yeah.
Got that to finish.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing this thing in France next year.
Next
Time
time.
to go. It's like there, but it's gone. But I feel like I raised so much with golf and
You're pushing your luck.
Do we want to have that personal
I'm
data
like,
ready to go?
So I got confused.
Yeah, well, there's a, have you heard of Heidi Joe?
Should I have done that?
Oh,
And in the end,
yeah,
I-
there is a Heidi Joe summer or something.
Oh, right, but
She does these,
So you know what
about
you do,
5,000
isn't it?
pounds
It's
in
too
France.
Of course, it is an
She
accident.
does
What do you think of it, Steve?
and gorgeous all
The reverse, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, she's more of a landscape
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
And then, so they,
Oh, I love very well there. Very loose. There's a lot of fun out there.
Very loose. There's a lot of like, you'll do cafes thing.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
somebody sitting in front of the door. And it's
So that was the mistake.
nice. They just
Thinking you've got
like,
to.
these backgrounds and
Yeah.
really loose.
so the,
She's gorgeous.
actually it's better, but then,
Yeah.
you know, say, yeah, this is a little curve,
This is.
make that as curve.
Okay.
I think we're
So you can have direction.
And similarly, to that one, I guess.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
do
this is
something
a
similar, yeah. Okay, and then you start to build on that. And then just watching these, looks a bit generic.
Yeah, it's all right, yeah. It was this main bit.
So, yeah, so follow this line, and then, you know, you come in for the chest there.
Stuff.
And there's a bit of a,
Back over this.
six back there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're using that guideline. Fixing the chest comes down, you've got the understanding that down there. So you're using that line to find your smaller articulations.
No, it's
Okay, thank you.
down for.
Can?
Oh.
Certainly can. Okay, Simon? Okay, so we've both got sharpened pencils. One left with a copy. Up, down. Good.
Now look at the thing.
Further down.
Might be that, yeah.
You went.
Okay, yeah. Fine, thank you.
Okay, so zero to the hands.
Change the positions.
Hands got the addition, yeah.
Only for one practice.
Remember that?
Okay. So fair liquid or something. All right. So now.
Can I couldn't that of the cleat there, couldn't I?
Sorry, just give me a second. What do you want?
This screen.
That screen, yeah.
She wants to take a photograph.
Oh, it's over there.
Oh, here you go. Oh no, what's happening? Give me a minute.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Okay, so today we're looking at hands. Okay. Well, before we start, let's do our usual. 2 fingers, pencil pressed against the page. Okay, nice and fat. Soft lines. Okay. In whatever direction you want. You can see that you're holding that pencil flat. Okay. Holding that pencil flat. Right, then we're just going to lift up slightly. So we've got like a 3 mil line. Okay. Nice and light. And let's just go in different directions. Different directions. Right. Okay. Let's get into these hands. So some basic principle of a hand is we'll just draw this out, yeah. So your fingers are basically attached to your palm. Okay. So the palm, if you look at our palm, okay, we have our knuckles. So if you think of this as just one block, you know, the palm. So we have our side planes, yeah. Side plane. Okay, and then we have our front plane, which is slanted. Okay, that goes down to the webbing. Okay, so from this side, look at the knuckles, the fingers look longer. Okay, because of the webbing in between, from this side the fingers will look shorter. Right, and then the fingers on the outside, where they bend, they're straight. Okay, that's angular, and then underneath it's bobbly. Bobbly, is that the right word? Yeah. So one side is straight, the other side is curved, increased, as it turns underneath. Okay, and then if you look at the hand overall tapers. Yeah, the hands taper, and fingers turn up. Turn upwards. Yeah?
Mine
So-
are all bent up.
How old are you? You haven't got lots of veins and imperfections. Must be a youngster.
57.
Yeah.
That's a big fact.
Right,
There's a little fly around it. We're going to
Yeah.
kiss him in a minute.
you're throwing me off now. Right, so we've got that. Okay, yeah. And then what do we have here?
Mine doesn't
Alright.
turn up.
No, mine don't.
You're just
Well,
very
Yeah.
flexible.
Your fingers turn up.
Mine don't.
There you go. Andrew's fingers turned up.
He's got an
If you
artist's
flex,
hand.
if you flex them.
Really sort of like.
There you go.
That's what comes from a lifetime of making painful.
Drinking tea.
You do press ups on your fingers.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got that. Okay, yeah. And then, so if you think about the proportions, where the knuckle comes here, that's about halfway between. There's a knuckle, isn't it? Yeah, knuckle.
Yeah.
Coming from the rib to the hand. Anyway, so if you think about the main knuckle there, that's about halfway between the length of the finger. Okay,
Say that again.
so this point here, you know, the knuckle there, about halfway between your main knuckle and
Your
the
joint.
finger
Knuckle to joint.
joint. Yeah. What's the joint?
I think that's a
isn't
knuckle, yeah.
it? Because in joints. Right. Anyway, so this is about halfway. Yeah. And then this knuckle here, this
Halfway
is
to the end of your finger, you mean?
yeah.
The end of your fine.
Yeah, so knuckle to end of your finger, your main joint is halfway. Yeah? And then from this joint here to the finger, this is just a bit longer than halfway. Yeah?
Yeah.
In terms of proportions. So let's draw this. Okay? So let's start off with a box.
We don't draw around our hand like we were taught at school.
We can do that. Yeah, so just looking at so the basic proportions. We're drawing our box, okay? And then, okay, we've got the slant, haven't we, from the knuckles? Okay, we've got that slant from the knuckle to the webbing. Yeah? That should be.
So what?
I'm doing this.
So we're just drawing the actual the box of the hand, and from the knuckle down to the webbing. Yeah.
So it's like
So that's going to be your knuckle. This knuckle here, and this is the webbing. That slant there. I think that's what that represents. Yeah. Okay, so then from the so in terms of the finger, how long is the finger to the hand? Okay, so look at that finger. The hands are going down to the what's that called, everybody?
That's the money.
Wrist. To the wrist. It's about half, isn't it? Okay. So these are our basic proportions. So from here to here, that's going to be the length of our finger. Okay. So if we double that line up, okay, and then the finger tapers, doesn't it? Okay, and then it bends upwards towards the fingernail. Yeah?
more like that, and then it turns. Yes.
Up. Yeah?
We're the same. We're doing that sequence again.
Yeah.
So it's your basic finger. Yeah? So this is just like very simplified. Okay. Yeah. And then we've got this slight curve. Yeah? And it goes to the tip of the finger. Curves upwards, doesn't it? Yeah? So we have it. So then, remember the joint, that's halfway between the tip of the finger and the knuckle there. Yeah? Okay. And then your next knuckle, that's going to be just a bit longer than halfway. Okay?
2/3.
Something like that. And then then your fingernail, we could call that roughly half. Yeah? It's a bit less. Okay? A bit less than half. Those are our basic proportions of the hand to finger. Okay? So now I'm going to think of this as a radius. So if we think of, I'm going to draw a finger slightly closed. Okay, so I'm going to draw this on an angle. Okay, so there's my finger on an angle there. All right. Okay. So then what's going to happen is, again, it's going to so the webbing now, the webbing will turn down. Okay, then we'll get a crease, then it gets narrower, then we'll get a crease, and then that finger turns up. Okay, the webbing is going to turn down now. So if you look at your hand, so if you hold your hand out straight, can you see the So there's your hand straight. And then here, this is the webbing here, that line there. And then it turns downwards. Okay, then you got those bubbles. Okay? That's like a basic finger. Finger to hand. All right? If that makes sense. Okay, so now let's look at, so this is like, so that's like your side profile. Okay? So let's look at this overhead hand now. Okay. So I'm going to look at this overhead hand. So another thing that you need to think of, so this is our okay. So from the wrist here, okay, so this is the shape that we're thinking of, okay? Then that comes down, can you see where the webbing is there? All right? So I'm just going to put that first shape in, that's going to be our block, which we have overhead, okay? So we can just do this by eye, okay? And then we've got this angle of the knuckles, and then we've got this other angle, which would be the webbing. Yeah. Okay, let's put our references up. Easier. Okay. So we have this basic block again. Okay, and everything's built off that. So from there, we're going to divide the block. So the first two fingers, okay, your main fingers are slightly thicker, okay, than the smaller fingers, okay, so it's not quite in the middle, just slightly to one side. So I'm going to divide, so from here, from our webbing, okay, not from the knuckle there, just going to make this distance here slightly wider. Okay. Yeah.
So you're going halfway point.
Just slightly a bit more than halfway. Okay.
To the
Too big
left.
mustard.
So yeah,
Nearer
to
the left.
this side, yeah. All right, yeah. So then, so if our wrist is here, you know, say the ball of the wrist is here, okay? So if we think about that distance, okay, from there to the knuckle, that's going to be the length of our finger, okay? So length of the finger. Okay, so I'm going to indicate the length of the finger there. From the ball of the wrist, yeah?
Ball of the wrist to the webbing or ball of the wrist to
So,
the knuckle?
so when we measured, yeah,
To the knuckle.
so the ball of the wrist, the knuckle, that distance is the length of your finger, yeah?
Yeah.
So the ball of your wrist, that's it. So this is your crease here. The ball of your wrist is about there, yeah? Yeah. So the middle of the ball of the wrist. Oh, that's a little bit. From
This bit here.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's good. Right, yeah, so you've got the ball of the wrist, so that distance from there to there, that's going to be the finger. Good. Okay. So,
oh,
okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to divide that finger, these shapes. So if you look at this, so we've got the middle finger, okay? And then all the other fingers taper around the middle finger. Yeah? So I'm going to look for the middle finger first. Okay, so just going to look that halfway mark. And just a general direction, middle finger. Okay. All right. So that's our middle finger. Okay. Then if we look for the knuckle between, sorry, not the knuckle, the joint from our knuckle, the joint, that's going to be roughly halfway. Okay. And that follows that angle. So we've got this. So then if you look at the knuckles there, they're following that angle. They're actually tapering, they're actually getting a bit smaller on that side. And that side there, yeah? If you think about the, maybe it's probably more exaggerated than that. So if you look at this shape here, yeah? Okay, probably a bit more exaggerated. That's our first knuckle. Okay. Open that, yeah? Okay. So then we're going to think about the height of these two fingers. They're more or less the same height as they recede. Okay. So slightly recede from the middle finger, and then they're going to taper. Okay. Then if you look at the small finger, that's almost at the halfway point. Okay, so where your next joint is, that's almost level with the next joint. Okay, so think about that halfway point. Say from there to there, something like that. Okay. All right, so the little finger sits right back. So that's going. So can you see that it goes back to the knuckle there? Okay. Okay. So this angle here could be your. So that would be a bit more. Small finger connects up to the knuckles at the back there. Okay. A bit more angle. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Okay, good. All right, so we've got our fingers, and then if we look at the thumb comes off that shape. Yeah. Okay, so then the thumb is coming off that block shape. Okay, and then where's the tip of the thumb? Tip of the thumb, just it comes a bit further than the webbing. Okay, there's my webbing. Thumb is just a bit further. Okay, and that the thumb from the side, that kind of tapers. So that bends upwards, doesn't it? The thumb bends up. Upwards, and then tapers. Okay, yeah, we all good? So, okay, so the shape of the fingers. Okay, can you see that how they're starting to turn in like that? You know what I was saying about how the finger turns up? Because they're turning in, they're on a slight angle. Okay, so this finger turns it in that side, that finger turns it in this side. Okay. So we can put that tapered edge on there. Yeah. Okay. Then the same with the small finger. We're going to taper that as well. All right. Then we can put these creases in. So if you look at the creases of the fingers here. Okay. Then we can put our nails in. Okay, so about halfway.
Just move your head a bit, please.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right, so putting these nails in. Okay.
The song's called RSVP. It was top 20 hit in 1991. It was the singer's only single free title.
So those are the basic proportions there. Okay. Real good, yeah? Okay, so just to go over it again. So we have our block, yeah? Block. So knuckles, webbing, okay. Fingers taper, okay, around the middle finger, okay. First two fingers slightly further over in division than the smaller two fingers, okay. Then the knuckle to finger, that's going to be halfway between the wrist, okay, and the tip of the longest finger. All right. And then the fingers taper in towards the middle finger. Yeah? Okay, so we can look at something from the front, okay? A front angle, the fingers coming in from the front. So if you look at this, so we can see here now, we've got this a bit more clear, the shape of the webbing. To the so yes, we've got the front of the box and the fingers coming out of the front of this box. Okay. So we're just going to put that shape in there. Okay. Yes, that's our basic. Good one. Okay. Then if we're dividing this, all right, we're looking for that division. Okay. Where the webbing is there, so that's about halfway. There's my division. All right. Okay. So we're seeing, in terms of foreshortening perspective, we're seeing more of the fingers and less of the back of the hand. Okay. So we're seeing a lot more of the fingers here. So I'm going to start off with my middle finger and build the fingers around that. Okay. I'm just looking at that gesture there. So looking for that next one. So I'm just putting this in. And then I'm just going to guess that the width of that finger there, or the length of the finger. Okay.
So we're guessing the length.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if we double the thickness of this thickness here, that kind of that hits the fingernail there. That'll give you some idea how deep you need to make it. So I've probably gone a bit too long. Probably come up a bit higher there. Okay. All right. So then, from there, if we look at the knuckles, sorry, the joints, they're almost following that line of the webbing. Okay, so they're almost following this line here. Then the next finger, I'm just going to draw in this overall angle here of the fingers. So the front of these fingers are on this angle, and then the smaller finger that comes out like so. And then you got the other finger next to it, the big finger. So I'm going to want that to slightly taper. Okay. There's got this next finger. Okay, so it's kind of so this is generally following this angle of our wrist, and then it curves off. So something like that kind of shape there. So it's kind of following that angle. Okay, where is that in relation to? Somewhere around there. Okay, probably made the hand a bit too wide. I'll bring that in a bit. So yeah, I just brought that in. Okay. All good? Okay. So then, we have the thumb coming from behind pointy finger. Okay. That tapers again. Okay. So if you think about the wrist, that kind of comes up, comes across there. That comes up, comes across there. Think about that as a side plane. Okay. Sounds good.
What's that last bit, sorry?
Just put it in this wrist here. If you think about this as a block. Feel good? Yes. Right. So we can think about the details. Okay. Okay, so if you're looking at that, so the middle finger there. Okay, so the middle finger is rounded on the front there, and then if you look at the nail, that is also rounded, but in the opposite direction there. Okay, so it's rounded. Okay, got that fingernail. Okay, so can we see the knuckle here? The knuckle comes out, sorry, the joint, then it comes back in again. Okay, so the finger that comes in, that's kind of overlapping this knuckle shape. Okay, that goes back, and then it overlaps the webbing, and then we've got that little crease shape in there. All right. So it overlaps the webbing. Right. Then if you look at the finger next to it, there's a bit of a gap there. But if you just look around, there's more of a curve on this side where the finger is turning in, yeah? And then sharper curve there. You see that? Yeah? So more of a gentle curve here and then smaller curve there, yeah? So it gives you the sense that it's turning in towards the finger. Yeah? It's okay. You good, yeah? And then the nail, that then turns the opposite way. Okay. So we're seeing less of the nail on this side and then more on that side. Okay. Then the knuckle comes slightly out. Oops. Give me a second. We've got the knuckle. And then the crease overlaps the okay. Like that. Then we'll look at the smaller fingers. So I'm going to taper the smaller finger here. Okay. So we'll give it some direction. Okay. Then if you look at the angle of the nail. Okay. All right, yeah. So
Oh, thank you. Thanks for taking part. You made Pop Masters Day, so well done. And thank you, Karen. All the best now. Bye.
okay. Right, then we're just going to look at the other finger now. Give me a second. Fix that. Okay. So the next finger. So I'm going to taper this finger from this side. Okay. Looking at the nail. Then we've got the first knuckle. Sorry, joint. Then going up to the indicating that second joint there. So just bearing in mind the foreshortening, okay? So if you just look over here, see this first knuckle here, Okay, that's going to sit in front of this second knuckle. So I'm leaving a bit of a space there. Okay, because that sits slightly behind it. Okay. And then if we look at the underside of the finger here, we've got this kind of bobbly-ness. Okay. Then we have the thumb coming around the back. Okay, we see a tiny bit of the thumbnail. Okay. Then we can look for the knuckles themselves. I'm just going to indicate these two little shapes here, so we can see a bit of the tendon where it overlaps the knuckle. Okay. And that's coming off that line. Okay. How do you get on with that? Pardon?
I think we picked a hard one to start with.
Pig's trotter springs to mind.
Anyway, so it's quite difficult because of the foreshortening. There, yeah. We'll have another go at it later. The foreshortening can play tricks on your eyes. Lost that little bit there. I think it's it's a bit too over articulated. See that shape there? That can be further back here. We just over articulate the
Yeah.
fingers.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the little thing, it isn't quite right.
Yeah.
I'm not going
Overall, it's that short. Just what's the articulation in there? So you got the web in here. Got everything that overlaps. Okay, everything turns up. It's all right. Don't worry. It's a quick country. And just watch the. Okay, it's looking good. It's just this little finger.
Yeah, it's always too far out.
Yeah.
Something not human born.
Bit separate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. So I think the width, for the length, let me just do it.
It'll be a bit short.
what's in the picture.
It's all right, probably just a bit, looking a bit thicker, yeah? Yeah. Right, switch that middle one. Yeah. No, it works out a bit better. Just a bit too thin.
Okay.
Then this one here is okay. Let's look at something else now. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the so we can see here with with the webbing, the fingers look smaller, they look shorter. So we're going to have a look at that one now.
You're doing the top one.
Top one, yeah. Okay. So if this was the right, yeah. So this is the basic shape of the hand, okay? So our knuckle would be about there. You see where this crease is here? That crease there, that's where our knuckle is. And this is where the webbing is. Does that make sense? So let's just look for this shape. Okay. Okay. Can't see that. We'll put that basic shape in there. All right, so breaking these fingers down again, we're looking for that halfway point. Okay, so first two fingers are slightly bigger than the second two fingers. I'm going to put that shape in there. Okay, going to look my main finger first. Okay.
Halfway.
Well, yeah. So, putting in that main finger first. So, remember it tapers. And then it turns towards the front there, yeah? A bit thicker. All right. So that taper gives it some shape. So we'll start with the middle one.
Oh,
More of it. Just slightly further around. Think about that on the left. More like that.
Yeah, I meant a bit.
It's all right, yeah.
That's
Okay, let's just think about that. The general curve first. You want to break that down after. Yeah. All right, see what that. Tapering.
Oh, this.
Like that. Okay, so we've got that that finger tapering. All right. Then we're going to think about the next finger. So I'm thinking about this gap. Yeah. So think about that gap in between first. Where's that in relation to this finger? So slight angle there, isn't there? So we're thinking about this gap here first. Okay, where's that in relation to? Somewhere around there. Okay. That, then that tapers. And then we've got the taper towards the...
This one.
Okay, so again, it tapers towards the front, yeah? All right. So then the next finger, that is just slightly under comes from behind the middle finger. Okay, so again, that's the taper, and then tapers towards the front of the finger. Okay, then the smaller finger. Gonna guess that. Again, slightly tapering. Right. Oops. Okay, so then let's look for the thumb. Okay, so where's that going to start? So where's the main knuckle of the thumb? That's about knuckle of the thumb. So in regards, so anyway, it's set back. So this is our knuckle here. So it's set back from your finger knuckles. That'll be the main knuckle of the thumb. That's gonna be somewhere around there. Okay. Then the thumb. There's the tip of the thumb. That's kind of in line with the. That's on an arc, the webbing shape there. Okay. So I'm going to look to the inside of that thumb, how it joins up to the hand. Something like that. Okay, I'm going to look for the knuckles on the outside. That shape there. Comes down to the joint. Okay. So that is our basic hand. All right. So we can start to break it down, yeah? Once you've got those main shapes in. Okay. So then if you're looking at these, looking at this finger, can we see it's almost like you got the side plane of the finger there. All right. So we'll do, we'll put the, indicate the side plane. Okay. So I'm going to say the side plane comes down there, yeah? On that front edge of that finger, if you can see that. Yeah? Okay, you all good? All right. So then, at the base of the finger here, if you can see that, it turns up, round. From the first finger here, that comes up. Round like that, yeah? Okay. And then we're seeing more of the tip of the finger. I just want to look over here for a second. So we've got that tip. So we've got these two creases here. Okay. And then, if you can see this, can you see the finger where it starts to turn inward here towards the crease, and then it comes back out to the knuckle. So if we join this line here, comes out there, and then it comes back out towards the knuckle here. Yeah? We're good with that, yeah? Okay. All right, so then the next finger, we've got these two. So we're just drawing the bubbles on this shape here. You've got this little articulation. So here we've got this little accent here. Okay, then I'm just going to guess where those creases are. So the front edge overlaps the edge behind it. Okay. And then we've got the small finger. So that's more or less round. Got this round shape here. And then that goes into the crease. Slightly above.
What was that last one? The little finger.
Yeah, so this is very kind of round shape, yeah? Because it's in the front of the finger there. And then we've got these two little creases. You real good with that, yeah? We'll look at the pointy finger. Okay. So I'm just thinking, so we've got a slight change of angle there. I'm going to put that in now. Straight bit. Then I'm going to put in the what would be like the front side plane. We're seeing less of the top plane. It comes out a bit further there. Okay. Then I'm going to put in the creases. Okay. Got this shape here. Okay. Good. Okay, so we've got this top plane. Okay. So now we're going to put in these little bubbles on the side of the finger. These indications, so it's kind of bubbly. Then we're going to look at the outline of the finger. So if you just want to look over here, we've got the knuckle here before it goes into the fingernail. Okay, that's what we did on this side. We're just seeing a bit of that knuckle there, then it comes into the fingernail. Okay. So then the finger that comes up and it kind of slots into the palm. That comes up. And then that kind of slots into the webbing, the palm there. And same with that little finger. That kind of slots into that webbing. Turns into the wrist. Okay. Feel good here? And then just looking at the thumb. Okay, we've got these two little creases here. Crease. So two little creases. We've got these little creases going into the palm. Okay. Right, just going to put in that nail. Okay. And then we've got the crease of the paddedness of the thumb. Okay, padded shape. There's your basic hand, okay? So it's just like the gestures with the body. We look for the overall shapes first, looking for the overall characteristics before we get into the articulations. Yeah. Just got to see, you know, there's kind of orbit to see it. Kind of, you know, so that's the, this one there. This just sit a bit, yeah. Around there, got the rest of one there. Yeah. I think so, yeah, that's pretty good. You're just going to watch the line like it's been a bit too dark. Yeah, some would just be a bit thicker. Relative to, yeah? Okay, thank you. All right.
Yeah.
So, what's that mean there? You'll just come in a bit more. Right, yeah, good. Then, yeah. So these tips.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit bigger. You just a bit too thick in here. You know. And there. These still looking good. Probably to be in order for it to fingers. Okay. All right. So now we're going to draw. Should I leave it to you to draw this next one?
Yes.
Because we've already covered it with the one above, okay? It's just a slightly different angle.
Yes, this one.
So let's look at this one here. So it's the same as the one above, but we just got the finger overlapping the middle finger. Yeah. But it's the same, right? Mm-hmm. Same principles. No?
Yeah.
So what are we looking for first? We're looking for the block, and then the knuckles, and should I draw it on the? Should I draw it on the? Right, I'll give you a rough idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's our knuckles. Okay. Coming down to the fingers. Okay, then you're going to be looking for that halfway point of the fingers, yeah? That's your basic. So everything's going to come off that block, yeah? Try and see. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then you're thinking about the the length of that, the longest finger. That's about half. The so if you go towards the anyway. That's the wrist there. Oh, well, you're actually seeing less of the top of the hand, more of the fingers. Well, this is slightly different. But you can still look for a so the actual shape of the hand to the webbing. The middle finger is just going to be a bit longer.
We find it hard, but you know, because the box, we're doing a straight line there, but we're missing all this bit out.
Yeah,
I find that bit hard to get my head round.
we can put all that in after, yeah.
Getting the width of this right, for the whole thing. You've got to think I'm going to go to there.
For now, yeah. Yeah, so once you're in, I think about your knuckles. Okay, and then think about that line of the knuckles from that main finger down to your smaller finger. Okay, because the fingers kind of changing direction of that angle. Yeah, same. Angle there.
Oh, yeah, more.
Okay, so looking for that middle finger first. Everything's based around that middle finger. And if that's your, it's about there, that's going to be a bit shorter. Then this finger is overlapping. Right, play it over. Yeah. That's right. We're just going a bit too wide. So, first thing here. Fingers, next one. Around there, overlaps. Think about that. And nothing here. We'll get to there. Right.
ready for you.
Landlords.
I think so.
So,
Let's try and what and then because if you're looking at engine, it can control the lines a bit later. Yeah, bit too hard. Okay, and from there to that, then it starts to turn on. Yes. So this finger here, then starts to turn in. Yes. That's one. Okay. A bit too big. How about all these little bubbles? Yeah, so we get all that and do something first. Then we think about, okay, that's leading to that. And this, that's something with the path. Start there. Then this one goes here. What's the line? This thumb start. Ready? So you get what's in place, in bases. Then we can start to. Yeah, so you got, break it down. Then Even though these aren't kind of bullets on the end, you still try and highlight it a bit. A bit more, especially pleasing. Okay, so that's 11:30. We're at the halfway point. Let's take a break there. You'll come back fully refreshed. Okay, this is looking good. Like you've been drawing hands forever. But it's a good way of, hopefully you can see that, it's a good way of breaking down these shapes rather than just trying to draw or generalize. Good. All right.
Yeah. Smile, yeah.
The sheep in the mouth. The other was going to stop. Yeah. You're talking. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then it's up. Yeah. And then it's in dialogue. Oh, come on. We should take it off. know, let me see the date.
I noticed them quite a lot of them around.
For what?
Yeah.
No. That's a receipt. You can try that time. You try that. Alright. Right. So, oh yeah, so you're not doing
You don't straight ahead. Stop. Yeah, got it.
I think it was a different kind of thing than what it is now.
You don't mind seeing me?
In 84.
So it's lovely. We've only got 3 weeks to go.
But then on those, it's on the TV, now it's on computer.
Now I should like to.
It's all those computers, 93. Overnight, just January 92.
Yeah.
That's like 93 in January. All computers. All approvals, scrap.
Oh no, I'm absolutely lovely.
Well,
I had some for 50 years and had an art class thing. Just that was
I think if you just to remember that bill, you took the well,
yes, yes.
you did.
I couldn't read it.
Oh yeah, it concerns me.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, I remember.
I think we should try it. So let's put it all together.
He was at Level Shoe Mold Life. Should probably be. Yeah, yeah.
I know, 15, 20, something like that. Yeah. and have some tea. Talk about tea, but.
I'm in trouble because the next one. I said, "Jeez, why not?"
If I was to say that, that would get
That is
horizontally challenged.
thick. It's because I didn't use
Rotund. Watch it, extremely fortunate.
The line was gate was very large.
I still feel huge.
I think sometimes people get sensitive.
There's such a big one for gestures. This guy, no more than that, so you can watch that. Which is like a lot. I mean, gesture-wise, can't really see much. Looks not good, like big nice hands.
Well, it's just you bring up the book. Really good and hard to be So, I mean, both of the beginning is like great because they're hard.
So you're saying about the company from the UK?
Yeah,
It's kind of the divide. It's working on companies overseas. Yeah, totally different cultures, environments. I can remember going to my ex-wife, which maybe was one of the
Deliciously crispy, fluffy, packs of
I never starts doing DIY around the clock. I do like banging. Like that's not important. See? See? Right, banging. I just said she could say all the day. I don't know where
because they all did it on a Tuesday evening. One of them on Monday afternoon. You know what I mean? It's so noisy. You know exactly what it's it'd be bats in the garden, so we need some signs. And once twice when all these come out, then you can see one. Sometimes they're not blowing 6 rings around the garden. You think it's noisy, it's so nice. And that we had a job during the day, so the work
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about some stuff, I met up with school football teacher in 1968. one guy, and I think you should have shared childhood. I wouldn't recognise guy. I'm sure the other guy for two other guys. And another friend either. So I recognise him because I've seen him on the half. But they didn't just have went for power action. But it was Jimmy who was half Greek. I can remember he was the first team. So back in 1968, big volleyball in the black boots, long laces, Jimmy that's what we got. So I stitched that down the side, and we were that's natural. I googled them since I've been back. Like how he shoots.
Yeah, the short match and facilitate.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's so unique. Because I mean, you know, otherwise. You know, over the last 10 years or so. I got back in touch with the school book of the 1968 order. 1912. Southampton, where I moved north to London. London was here north. When I first moved up to Manchester, Manchester is actually almost halfway up. I still have thought. Yeah, well, that's all you can try. As you're going to one of the few and they've got steel, the Iron Man is that's been there when you see it. So you've got to be so careful when it goes up and run. Yeah, it's that's the forest. But it's sort of constant.
You might softball. Where all
Okay.
Jim Martin. Greatest hits radio.
All the trees, so what is it? One thing. That road. Oh, it's massive. Even more houses.
Stockton Heath. The Beverly Hills of Warrington. Right.
What's new next?
Whoa. Okay. Beautiful hands.
Right. Did you go to book? Did you have any book? Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay. So, another hand. Let's do another hand. Okay, looking at the
someone else.
okay. So we are starting off imagining the oh no. So we're imagining the okay, so can we see the shape here? Yeah. So we've got the side plane. Okay, of the hand. This would be the knuckles. Well, not the knuckles, but where the probably not like that. Okay, actually, yeah, probably something like that. Okay, so we're going to start off with that, and then we're going to find the hand from there. Okay. So we've got the line of those knuckles there. Okay, and that'll probably wrap around. Thickness. You've got the corner of the finger here. It's going to be like the corner of the wrist. That's going to come down. Okay, and then we've got the wrist here, that angle. Maybe something like that kind of runs into the finger here. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Oh, good, good. Okay. Okay, so then all right, so now gonna look for the, so let's think about these knuckles. Okay, so we can see this shape here. Okay, bump. Just give me a second. All right. So from there, so can we see that there? So we've got this shape here, and then the knuckles. All right, I'll put this first finger in there. Something like that. Okay. Just getting that first finger, or the middle finger, should say. Okay, so I'm just roughing that angle in there. Okay, so we're looking for that.
That's
That
the
now?
middle finger.
Pardon? This is the middle finger there. This line here, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Then maybe
Oh, the middle finger.
yes.
But it doesn't look like it's middle finger, but it is the middle finger.
See that, yeah? Okay, and then I'm just drawing a line for these joints here. Okay. So we've got that. Okay. And then if you just look over here, we just see this line of the knuckles there. Okay. So the line of the knuckles. Pretty good so far. Just looking for these overall shapes of the. Right, so can we see the all right, so looking for this shape here, yeah? This is your middle finger again. We're just looking for that. Start off with. You all got that? It's going to be a bit more. Let's think that's what I'm doing. Okay. A bit more like that. Yeah. So, these knuckles here. Yeah. Right there. Comes across. It turns down. And you got that. Then you got spine of knuckles. All right, so we all good with that, yeah? Okay. So let's look for this this first finger, okay? So we just want to look over here for a second. it's more or less straight, yeah? And then it turns up there. Then we've got the inside of the finger there, okay? So, got that. And looking for that, the width of that finger. And the knuckle there, okay? Yeah. Then the okay, so then the finger here turns up. So it's going to taper towards the fingernail. There. Okay. That's our first finger. Okay. Then if you look at the next finger, the knuckle comes a bit further forward. Okay. So here's the next knuckle. Oh, sorry, joint. Okay. And I'm working off that line, my guideline. Okay, so that's my next one. Okay. And then, if you just want to look over here for a second. So, I'm not getting caught up in those little crease shapes. I'm just looking for this edge here of the smallest finger. Then we can put these little crease shapes in after. Okay. So, my next shape there. Okay, then we'll put the thickness in of that little finger. Okay. We've got that thickness in of the small finger there, yeah? Okay. Then if you just look here for a second. So this finger, so we've got this angle here. The finger straightens off, turns back, and then turns back here. So this is the width there. Can you see that? So just want to look over here for a second. So this is my width here. So the little finger is turning around. Yeah, so it's bending around that corner. You see that? There. Okay, so those are the basic finger shapes. Okay, let's put the pointer finger in. Okay, so that's coming round here. Bring in my thickness, that tapers. Okay, and then which side is it going to taper from? Okay, then I'm going to put my thumb shape in. Okay. Right, so I'm going to put my thumb shape. So just looking for that distance there between the finger. Just looking at that thumb shape there, kind of tapers as it recedes. Okay. Pretty basic thumb.
Yeah.
Which succeeds just before. This is the
And it's 3 cars rolling together, but I used to live that to the have to drive around the farm. So we drive the tracks to the But yeah, I bought my first car when I was well, not one for the road, it was one for the theatre. Around 18. Flames on the side. And something really cool to black out the windows with black. That's the arrow. Yes. Well, fast forward that.
Okay, so we've got the basic shapes now for the fingers. Okay, so we can start to break these shapes down. Okay. We'll start with the main finger, middle finger. Okay. Right, so we can start to think about the so if you look here, you've got the knuckle, sorry, the joint there, comes in, then it comes out here a bit, and comes in. So I'm just going to round this shape off there, comes in, and it comes slightly back out again. Okay. All right. So then, look at it. If you just look over here for a second. So if you look at this knuckle here, okay, it's like a you've got a front face of it, yeah? You can see the front face. That makes sense? So it's like a parallelogram shape here. So that shape there. And then it turns back on itself here. And then you've got the same thing for your next finger. Let's just think about that little shape there.
Sorry, how do you see a parallelogram out of that?
Because the
Oh, okay, it's going across.
yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Just, when you look at that, the angle, you can get like a parallelogram shape. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So we've got that. Okay, then we're going to pick out the fingernail. Okay. Okay, so the fingernail. Okay. All right, let's look at the then we've got this little kind of crease shape here. that overlaps this crease. Like shape in there. Okay, then we've got the next finger. So that slightly overlaps the middle finger, comes back on itself. Okay. Right, then we've got the, if you just want to look over here for a second, you can see the knuckle there is kind of following this line here. So that comes down. Round, then you got like a parallelogram shape there. Knuckle. Okay. So I'm just going to put these crease shapes in. If you just want to look over here for a second, so that's roughly where the knuckle is. Then we've got this kind of crease, or the paddy bit. Okay. Then we can look at the smaller finger. Okay. So if you just want to look over here for a second, you see this shape here, the knuckle there. Okay. That's going to follow in this line here. Comes back on itself. Okay, then we can put in the creases, or the padding for that little finger. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the finger. So think of the change of angle. Okay. So we've got the straight side. That finger. Change it to knuckle. So just in, if you just want to look over here for a second, just in terms of articulation, you can see that we've got the knuckle there, and then we've got this tip of the finger that wraps around here. Okay? That's going to be sat in front of the that knuckle shape there. Okay. And then, if you just look over here for a second, we've got the front plane and the side plane. Okay. So front plane, side plane.
Years ago when I first met just reminded really funky the next finish now enjoying it's not just one institute everything is central.
Okay. Then we'll look at the thumb. Okay, so the thumb is, so if you look at that nail, it kind of goes the opposite way. The ball of the thumb. Okay, got a bit of a crease. Okay. There's all your little articulations there. Coming off that hand. All right.
You sure?
Yeah, sorry, just watch this. So that finger just a bit over articulated.
That's what's making it short. Space to begin with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this that's going to be a bit low there.
Space.
Well, I mean, okay, just make this a little bit thicker. Yeah. All right then. Comes out there. Just go a bit lower. Okay, right. Maybe a bit thicker relation. Yeah, just, I think it's just a bit short. Um, yeah, I think it's just that little finger. Right, so the knuckles just a bit deep. Relation to,
Yeah.
so just go, and then makes the things look a bit short. We
With that original box to the right. It's open, not really open.
yeah, that's good. Comes down.
I think that's probably because that was what is out extrusions.
So this is that shape runs along. Just that again there. Yeah. So I'm just going to then start to turn back. And then that will collapse a bit there. Just there. Okay. Just finger. Thicker. Just a bit thicker, right? Give myself a good walk into it. Right. It's just the relation of the figures all around is a bit too. 21.
Just like he does tails. Oh, I guess what happened now? That's not how. Oh, it's Black Friday weekend. It's a day of the park until the 14th of the Black Friday week.
All right, so let's, what do we want to do now? Should we do some figures?
Scottish Friendly's my easy choice answer. Why not join them this Black Friday?
In the mood for figures?
Figures with hands.
Figures with hands or more hands? More hands? Okay, so if we turn, all right, so this is a nice hand here, okay, typical fingers nicely tapered. Okay, so man's hand is a lot different to the woman's hand here, yeah? Much more tapered, aesthetically pleasing. Okay. So let's look at this one. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, the one holding the phone.
Yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to do the claw one?
No, I
Let's do this is going to be a nice one. Okay. So we have the side. Okay. We've got the webbing. That's something like that. So we're virtually drawing a box, yeah? Let's go that side plane. So side plane, knuckles. We've got the webbing. Something like that to begin with. Right. Wrists. Okay. Okay. So let's start with the middle finger. Okay. Oops. Okay. So let's think about the length. What length is that? So going up to the knuckle. Is there anything? Okay, that probably covers from this point to this point here. Oh, that point to that point there, roughly. Finger. Okay. Right, so then drawing the joint, that finger, yeah. Right, so the middle should be roughly, the break of the finger should be roughly in the middle.
So this is the middle finger, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Right, then I'm going to put the thickness in. So,
Wait.
oh, sorry. All right, so let's put the. So if you look at this line of the knuckles here, we'll put that in as well. That's echoing the webbing. That kind of echoes the webbing, roughly. Right. So, I'm going to look for the thickness of the middle finger. Okay, so that tapers as it gets to the front. And then it turns up. Okay. So that's roughly that, the shape. Coming from the webbing. Not coming from the webbing. But yeah. Okay. The next finger. Okay. So that's my middle finger. Okay, now I'm going to look for call it the pointy finger. Okay, so that starts from behind the knuckle. Okay. Okay, so looking for that next finger. So I'm just looking for that negative, looking at the negative space first. Okay, then I'm going to build the finger out from that negative space. Okay. Then we can look at the next finger. So again, just looking at the negative space. Where is the tip in relation to the middle finger? So I'm just thinking about that angle. Okay. Think about the knuckle, where that changes, and then negative space. Okay. So negative space there. And then where that joins up to the actual knuckle. Okay. Somewhere around there. Okay, then I'm looking for the finger. Tapers. Turns up. Okay. Smallest finger. Think about the negative space. Get to the knuckle. Change the direction. Where's that finger end? Okay. I guess that's our basic. So it's the basic hand shape there, yeah? Okay. We should have something like that. In here. Okay. Like the ripple there. And start to bend, taper. Like, change the direction there. You can change that. And then. Okay. A little bit too much. Yes. More like that.
Resistance Radio is
Yeah.
get it for free. Play more with
You can see here these points together.
its way.
It's in there. Right, it's fit. You can, okay. Okay, good. About the rest of the two flags, I believe. Use the circle. Yeah, we're not really there.
I really find that.
With that knuckle, reduce it further forward. Yeah, good. Pardon? This one you mean? You've got loads of reasons.
Reason, because I feel like that line, you've got to go to there.
Oh, no.
On
No. So good, just jump in.
You've got one more, you've got.
One band here. One extra space in there, yeah? And no. So that's like that.
Drop like that.
Let me take this.
Christmas offers
Yeah. That's all you need to do.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, my son is all doing this, and God's doing this.
Was it far?
All right, so once we've done that, then we can start to break down the figures. No, look at all what you can't see.
That one.
Right. You watch how dark you make these lines.
Dark.
I'm just saying these pages.
I've just read some using film. Is that yeah, that's what I say.
But at least are we putting the principle into hand?
Yeah, I haven't tried to. I think it's is it too stuck?
Yeah.
So I need to try and get it thinner.
Okay, so you can see about where the the underside, the crease. You see how far in here? There. About here. It's all the creases of the marsh. This is the piece of the
Yeah.
so yeah. Okay, yeah, so the knuckle is supposed to be halfway between them. Yeah.
You're quite right.
So yeah, you think about what the crease compared to the outside.
Don't you do it right because I know how to do it.
Okay, so once you
I think I just said it, didn't I?
once you get it right, then you can start to break it down. Just start at the four eyes. It's okay, it's just these. So, fix that. Two, so that thing is going to be bigger. Just articulate and change see a bit. Video wedding. A bit too. Just finger. Okay, so we can break these shapes down into the knuckles and whatever, yeah, joints. And then with the one hands, you don't want to articulate too much. The more textural again, the better. Men's hands are a bit more
Now this
knobbly. Pardon?
But this thing, that was me, I don't anymore. All this syndrome.
Yeah, so you kind of want the overall shape. Nice and pointed, stay close in. Well, it's not the men's they can be a bit longer. A bit. Yeah. 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 Bit longer. Got the that's it, yeah.
Oh, and then.
Yeah, it's that male. And it's going to put that would have okay, this nail here. I want this edge to kind of follow that.
I think all my original guidelines.
Line, yeah, it's not yeah, that's
They're confusing me.
the bit more like that.
That is not, isn't it?
We've done that.
Yeah, so you kind of great. These are okay. Right. Can you just look a bit awkward because it's not. I think it's okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm still.
Yeah, don't worry about these little beauty bits.
This one's going on this.
So think about that.
It's stress. It's
And the bends. You're just losing that overall shape. Yeah, so it's a bit more like that. So, yeah, just what's your articulations? So it's actually slightly wider there.
It's more than that, not in temperature, but in connection. You've covered toddler tantrums, and the eternal mystery of that painting is always on holiday. Between snorts of laughter and warmth of hips, you realise it is the best present of all. This feeling, more than a letter, it's a constant connection. It doesn't sound like this. Our sales sound more like this. Besides, chaos becomes this.
Come on, it's 157. You haven't done any figures.
Morning, Steve.
I thought it was quarter to one. Maybe quarter to 12. I thought we were going to get another half an hour. Do some figures.
Too enjoyable.
Too late.
Too enjoyable. This is a good ones are so difficult, but it's good to, it is good to do it.
Yeah.
Most people avoid hands on portraits, so it's good to do
That's
that.
right. Your aspirations here.
Yeah, yeah. It makes you look at it different things.
So that's our line there. Silly little. Slightly. Very. Slightly articulate how you put it there, you know.
It needs a thumb, doesn't it? Thumb.
Yeah, so a split one's pretty more.
Thank you, anyway.
Oh,
Lewis, you know all these drawings you've done on there?
Yes, yes.
All of them.
Oh, well, I mean,
Keep adjusting.
if we've got the,
Never gonna.
okay, like this stuff here.
You find your target?
I have my heavy physio stuff.
Yeah, you have it.
He'll go in.